At this point, we've got a number of data files into Excel. But one thing to be aware of is that if your data source, in terms of its size, has more than 50,000 rows, let's say as a rule of thumb, it can have a detrimental effect on the performance of Excel if you actually load it into Excel. So sometimes what we want to do, because of the size of the data source, is we want to create a connection only to the data source so that we can analyze the data, but the data doesn't actually come into and load into Excel. So for example, let's say I go to data in Excel. Where's my mouse? There it is there. Data, and I go get data and from file and say from Excel workbook. So I've got this file, for example, called financials. So I choose financials and I choose import. But it's at this point here where we've been choosing a particular table or sheet. So let's say I choose financials, the table, and I don't want to load it. Say it's huge. Instead, what I want to do is hit this drop down and choose load to. Now, when you choose load to, then you get some options. And here they are here. And so what I want to do is I want to only create a connection to the data. I don't want to pull the data in. And so if I then also say that I want to add that data to the data model, that saves me having to do that. So that'll add it to the data model and bring it through to Power Pivot. And really all I need to do then is just go OK. I can see it loading here. 700 rows were loaded. So imagine it's got like more than 50,000. And then if I actually go to my data tools and choose manage, because I want to go to the Power Pivot window, I can see down here that I brought in the financials. So I can see the data in my Power Pivot, but I haven't loaded it. If I switch back, I haven't loaded into a sheet in Excel. And that's just because I don't want to slow down the performance and then start experiencing errors and all sorts of carry on with my Excel file because it's too large. Now, I'd also like to create a connection to another file. So I'm going to get data from file from Excel workbook, and it's called product costs, and I import that. But instead of loading it, I'm going to bring this into view. I'm going to actually choose the product costs sheet, and I'm going to load it to, and then I'm just going to choose that I want a connection only. So once it allows me, create a connection only and add it to the data model. And okay, so it appears within your Power Pivot. And so if I then go to Power Pivot and manage, I can see I've got my product costs in here. So that's something to think about as well. Don't load it if it's a huge amount of data. Create a connection only to that data source. And then I'll switch back to Excel and I'll actually press Control S and save the Excel file.